Hi, welcome back to Math Learning Groups. Today we are going to continue with our series on model drawing. So we are coming to the part 6, right, which is the last part of our model drawing lessons. So in this final part, we will go through the before and after model, and then you will see whether your model has been drawn correctly, and then you can see whether your answer is correct. Okay, so let's go into practice problem 1, and we will look at how to draw the model. Alright, now a farmer had twice as many chickens as cows. So when you see the word twice as many, it means that the chicken has 2 times and the cow has 1 time. So after he sold 330 chickens, he had twice as many cows as chickens. So that means that the cow now has 2 times and the chicken has only 1 time. So whenever there's a before and after problem, you will have to think about what is unchanged. So there are 4 answers. Let's revise the 4 answers. The total unchanged, 1 group unchanged, the difference unchanged, and everything changes. So in this problem, you can see that the chickens are changed because after he sold 330 chickens, the chicken will become lesser. But the cows are unchanged, so there's 1 group unchanged. So how do we draw the model, right? So you have the before model, right? And how do we draw the before? The farmer had twice as many chickens as cows. So I'm going to label the 2 animals and 2 boxes for the chickens and 1 box for the cows. Okay, that's your before model. And when you sort the chicken will become lesser, right? But the cows is still unchanged. So which rectangle will be easier to draw? The one that is unchanged will be easier to draw. So the cows is unchanged, so that will be easier to draw the rectangle for the after, right? In the after model. And after he sold 330 chickens, the cows now has 2 times already. So if you look at the after model, the cow has 1 rectangle, which is at the bottom that you can see. You just have to cut it into 2 boxes. So now the cow has 2 times already, and the chickens will have 1 time. So that's how you draw the after model. Okay, alright. And then what do we do next? Then you continue to add on to your model. So he sold 330 chickens. So where do you put the 330 chickens that he sold on the model, which is over here? So this is where you put the 330 chickens that he sold, and the question mark, how many chickens were left. So the question mark will be over here, and your model is done. So after you've done your model drawing, you look at the model and see whether you need to cut them equally. Yes, you need to cut them equally. So for example, the chicken is unchanged, so the cow is unchanged, so you cut the rectangle for the cows into 2 smaller boxes, similar to the after, right? So you cut them and make them equal. And do the same for the rest of the boxes. So you cut every big box into 2 smaller units, and now the whole model is entirely units, right? The whole model is full of units now. Okay, then you compare the before and after, and how many units is chickens, or how many units are 330. So you have 4 units of chicken at first, and then now you have 1 unit of chicken left, so you must have sold 3 units of chickens. And the 3 units of chicken will be 330 chickens. So you need a connection, right, between the model and the information in the problem. So there's a connection, and then 1 unit will be 330, and you divide by 3. So you get 110, which is 1 unit. So how many chickens were left? Which is 1 unit, right? So you have 1 unit of chickens left. So your answer will be 110. So you solve the problem using the before and after model. Right, so every time you see a before and after model, so what must you think about? You must think about what is unchanged. Okay? Alright, let's go to the next problem. Now, this is an age problem. Any age problem is also a before and after model. Right, and the difference is unchanged. The age difference will always be the same. So Mrs. Ho is 6 times as old as the daughter now, which is the present. And so there will be 6 boxes for Mrs. Ho, and the daughter is 1 box. In 3 years' time, which is the future, their total age will be 55 years. So how old is the daughter now? So you can see that this is also like a before and after problem. So every time there's an age problem, you also have something similar to before and after. So I'm going to call the before, I'm going to call it the now. And the 3 years' time, I will call it the future. So you can actually change the label. And so Mrs. Ho is 6 times as old. So let's draw 6 boxes for Mrs. Ho. So we're going to draw Mrs. Ho. 6 boxes. Right, so you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And the daughter will be 1 box or 1 time. Okay, so that is the now, okay, the present. In 3 years time, how old will they be? Right, in 3 years time, their rectangle will become longer already. So I'm going to draw a longer rectangle for Mrs. Ho, and of course the daughter's age will also be bigger. Right, the rectangle will also be longer for the daughter's age. And in 3 years time, their total age will be 55 years. Okay, and how do you put the 3 years time into the model? You can just add another 3 years time like this. You can add another 3 years, and here also another 3 years. So each person has 3 years added to their age. And how old is the daughter now? So your question mark will be over here, and your model is completed. Okay, so what do you do with the model? Now, the difference is unchanged, right? The age difference is unchanged. And if you look at the now model, you can call the boxes units. So Mrs. Ho has 6 units, and the daughter has 1 unit. And over here, the daughter must have 1 unit at first. And you can also cut the rectangle for Mrs. Ho, which is also 6 units, something like that. So you have 1 unit, 1 unit, 1 unit, and so on. So you can see that Mrs. Ho has 3 years added to her age, and the daughter also has 3 years added to her age. And what's the difference? The difference will be the 5 years, the 5 units. 5 units. So their age difference is unchanged, which is still 5 units. Okay, so the model is done already. So what do you do next? You compare the model, and you can see that there is a total given to you. So what you can do is you can add up their total age in the future, which is, if you look at Mrs. Ho in the future, that will be 6 units plus 3 years time, and then you plus the daughter's age. So you add up all the units, that will give you 7 units. Okay, let me just erase the 6 unit. So you look at the future model, add up all the units, and add up the numbers that you see, which is 3 plus 3 equals 6, and that will give you the total age. Then what do you do next? You take 7 units, which is equal to 55 minus 6, and you will get 49. Okay, then you can find 1 unit already. So your 1 unit will be 49, and then divide by 7, so your 1 unit is equal to 7. So now can you find the daughter's age now, which is 1 unit old? So the daughter is 7 years old now, which is 1 unit. So that's how you solve the problem using the before and after model. And so every time there's an age problem, the difference is unchanged, which is over here. Okay, the age difference is still 5 units, and in the future, the age difference is still the same. Okay, that's how you solve the model for this problem. Okay, let's go on to the next question. And Sarah had twice as many sweets as Mabel. After Mabel bought another 90 sweets, Mabel had twice as many as Sarah. Okay, so when you see the word twice as many, it means that Sarah has 2 times, Mabel has 1 time, and then in the end, Mabel had 3 times, or you call it thrice, and Sarah has 1 time in the end. So how many sweets did Sarah have? So what is unchanged in this problem? Mabel bought more sweets, but Sarah did not buy any sweets. So Sarah is unchanged. So you draw the before, okay, before and the after. Okay, so how do you draw the before model? Now Sarah had twice. So you draw a rectangle, cut into 2 boxes, and Mabel has only 1 time. And Mabel bought another 90 sweets. Okay, 90 sweets, but Sarah is unchanged. So which rectangle or which person is easier to draw? The one that is unchanged. Sarah is unchanged, so you just have to draw the same length, same rectangle as before. And then what do you do? And then you can see that Sarah has only 1 time in the end, and Mabel has 3 times of Sarah. So Mabel has 1, 2, and 3. So that's how you draw 3 times for Mabel, and Sarah has 1 time in the end. Okay, what else do you put onto the model? Now Mabel bought another 90 sweets. So where do you put the 90 sweets? You can put the 90 sweets like this. Alright, Mabel bought another 90 sweets. And how many sweets did Sarah have? Which is in the end, or which is before and after same, right? Because Sarah is unchanged. So your question mark can be here, or can also be here. So Sarah is unchanged, and your model is done. So after you have done your model, what do you do next? You cut them equally. Make the model all look equal. Like for example, in the before model, you can see the units. But in the after model, the rectangles are bigger, the boxes are bigger. So you look at Sarah and you cut it into similar, right, into 2 units as well, similar 2 units. And every big box, you also do the same. Cut every big box into 2 smaller boxes and you will get, okay, hang on for a while. It's not 2 units. Let me just do some adjustment. Okay, so you cut Sarah's rectangle into 2 boxes and every box is 1 unit, and do the same for all the other boxes. Okay, all the other boxes, so you have 1 unit, and so on. So now the model is all the same, they are all equal. Okay, so Mabel has bought how many units? You compare the before and the after. Mabel has 6 units in the end. At first, he has only 1 unit. So how many units did she buy? She must have bought 5 units of sweets. And the 5 units is also equal to 90. So Mabel has bought 90 sweets, which is 5 units. So can you find what is 1 unit? You take 90 and then divide by 5 and you will get 18. So 1 unit is 18. So how many sweets did Sarah have? Sarah has 2 units. So 2 units will be equal to 18 times 2 and that will be equal to 36. So Sarah has 36 sweets, right? Before and after, which is unchanged. Alright, so that's your before and after model. So it's not that very hard to draw. Okay, let's look at the last question. Right, the last one is an age problem again. So every time there's an age problem, the difference is unchanged. So Andrew is 12 years old, her father is 3 times as old as her. So you draw 3 boxes for the father and 1 box for Andrew. In how many years' time will Andrew's father be twice as old as her? So Andrew's father will be 2 boxes in the end and Andrew will be 1 box in the end. So how do we draw the model? Now, you can call it now, which is their present age, and in how many years' time, that will be the future. Okay, then you have Andrew and the father. So the father is 3 times as old as her. So let's draw a rectangle for Andrew and the father. So Andrew is 1 time and the father will be 3 times. And Andrew is 12 years old, so the father will be 12 times 3. Okay, 12 times 3. So the father is 36 years old now. Okay, in how many years' time will Andrew's father be twice as old as her? So both their ages, both of them will become older. So which means their rectangle will become longer. So the father is going to be twice as old as her. So you draw a bit longer, right? Draw a longer rectangle for the father as compared to the now, right? So in the future, the father's rectangle has to be longer than the rectangle in the now model. So you cut it into 2 boxes because the father is going to be twice as old as Andrew. Andrew will be 1 box. Okay? And how many years' time? So can we put a question mark? If you can't put the question mark on the model, then you don't put the question mark on the model. So the model is more or less done already. So what is unchanged? The age difference is always the same. Okay, always unchanged. So that will be how many years older is the father. So the father will be 12 plus 12, which is 24 years older. So in the future, the father is also going to be 24 years older, which is actually 1 big box. Okay, 1 big box. So the other big box is also 24, and Andrew is going to be 24 years in some years' time. Alright, so how many years' time will the father be twice as old as her? So you compare the father, right? Compare the father in the future, which is how old? So the father is going to be 24 times 2, or 24 plus 24. The father is going to be 48 years old in the future, and you compare the father's age in the future with his age in the now model. So how old is he now? He is 36 years now. So how many years' time will the father be 48 years old? So you minus. So you take 48 minus 36, that will give you 12 years' time. So in 12 years' time, the father is going to be twice as old as Andrew. And how do you double check? Well, you can double check by looking at Andrew. If Andrew is 12 years now, then in 12 years' time, how old will she be? So you plus another 12 years time, and she will be 24 years in the future. So isn't that correct? Which is 24 years in the future. So that's how you once again draw the before and after model for each problem. Alright, so we come to the end of our part 6 on model drawing. So we are going to resume back our PSLE Math Heuristics lessons. And so model drawing is actually quite fun. It's not very hard to draw. So once you're able to draw out the problem, you can see that it's not that hard to solve the problem. So, but it takes practice. You will have to keep practicing drawing, and you have to practice. And if you don't get the answer at first, but don't give up, because it's about the drawing. It's about drawing out the sentences, and the more you draw, the better you get. And then when you go to primary 5, primary 6, it'll be easier to draw out the model. Alright, so we come to the end of these model drawing lessons, and so stay tuned for the up and coming lessons. We will be looking at our PSLE Math Heuristics lessons, and there'll be more and more lessons coming up. So stay tuned to our MLGs YouTube channel, and do remember to subscribe. Okay, do remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, and click on the notification bell button, and then every time when I post a lesson, you will be able to receive the lesson immediately. Alright, so stay tuned for our up and coming lessons. So I will see you in the next round. Alright, goodbye.